Sitting as a Board of Order, please convene the board.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Here.
Councilman Wareham.
Here.
Councilwoman Noack.
Here.
And Councilwoman Izzarella.
Here.
Sitting as a Board of Order Commissioners, the control to dispose of 3 vehicles and enter into replacement leases pursuant to the Enterprise Master Lease Agreement.
Councilwoman Izzarella.
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack.
Yes.
Councilman Wareham.
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
And the Commissioners also approve the meetings of the minutes of the meeting on March 17th.
Councilwoman Izzarella.
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack.
Yes.
Councilwoman Wareham.
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes. Sitting, we're reconvened as a board. Sitting as a town board, the supervisor appoints Lauren DePietri as a member of the Youth Bureau. Term of office April 6, 2016 through December 31, 2018. No vote on that. These are first readings for the following events. Judy's Run for Stroke Awareness, Ronkonkoma Rotary Run, Smithtown Elementary School Bike Rodeo, Comac Coalition of Caring and for the 5K Run Walk, and the VFW Post 395 Memorial Day Parade, Comac Volunteer Ambulance Corps 5K Run and Walk, and this is now a second reading for St. James Chamber of Commerce Halloween Costume Parade, and a second reading for the Smithtown Chamber of Commerce 5K Running of the Bull. Anyone wish to be heard for or against those events? What is the special events on the category here?
Yeah, it's a mistake.
Oh, that's a mistake, okay, sorry. Okay, public hearings, the town board to consider proposed local law.
You still have to read them, Supervisor.
Oh, yeah, I have to read
Yeah,
them anyway,
please.
even though it's up above?
Yeah.
Special event, Kings Park Chamber, Kings Park Day, St. James Chamber of Commerce, St. James Festival Day. Public hearings, town board to consider proposed local law number 1 of 2016, amending chapter 221 of the town code of the town entitled Property Maintenance.
Good afternoon, Supervisor, members of the Town Board. I'm Janice Hanson, Assistant Town Attorney for the Town of Smithtown. The purpose of this public hearing is for the Town Board to consider proposed amendments to Chapter 221 of the Town Code. The proposed amendments make it a property owner's duty to trim broken or decayed limbs from trees and to cut down and remove any trees upon their property which are dead, dying, blown over, leaning precariously toward a structure, harbor insects or disease, or which are so damaged that they are a public nuisance and are in danger of falling. In the event that the property owner fails to do so, the town will have the authority to go on the property and remove the trees utilizing the same procedures that we currently use for our property cleanups. Unless there are any questions, that's
That's
my
basically it.
presentation. That's it.
Does anybody have any question on that? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have a question.
But please, you gotta come up and give your name so we can write it down.
In the mic, please.
My name is Richard Kunz. I live at 11 Ann Court in Kings Park. And my question is, I just wanted that clarified. I read about it in the newspaper, and that's why I'm here today.
Sure.
The trees on the curb, the town has always maintained. Is that, we're talking about that tree? We're talking about trees that are on my property in the backyard?
Trees are on your property, not the ones at the curb.
Not, that you'll still maintain?
Yes, of course.
Thank you very much. That's it.
Frank Eisinger, is that Frank, was that you, sir?
Rich Kunz.
No. Oh, here he is.
Good afternoon. My name is Frank Eisinger, and I read the Newsday article, and I have 2 questions.
Sure.
The first one, you just answered, sir. The other one is this. I haven't read the proposed amendment, but the way the article is written in Newsday is we're all responsible for carting away and cutting up trees and so on. Well, let me tell you why this came to my mind, this question. I live in a development that was carved out of the woods, off Edgewood Avenue, Damon Park. It's hilly, and valleys, cluster zoning. About a third of my property is forest, wood. The rest is woods that belong to the town. Now, it isn't clear here, but am I supposed to worry about when a tree falls or leans or something in a forest? Am I supposed to take it away?
No.
Some people own 2 acres. A good part of it is woods and forest. So the question is, sir, am I responsible for the woods, what happens in the woods?
No, but I'll have the attorney answer that. I believe it's only if that tree is in danger of affecting somebody else's life or property. So the tree in the woods will fall and no one will hear it, you know, the old line.
Even if they hear it?
Right. So it's really to, and I'll have the town attorney explain it better than I can, it's to prevent a tree on someone's property from injuring or destroying property of someone else.
Well, I thank you for the answer, but I have a comment regarding this amendment. The way it is written isn't ready for prime time. It needs some clarification.
Okay.
Exactly what you said, sir.
Okay,
That if we're dealing with a forest that's been there since Adam and Eve, this rule, this amendment doesn't apply and shouldn't apply.
okay, so
That's my take.
you think it needs to be clearer, but let's ask the town
It
attorney.
might be clear, he's reading Newsday.
Yeah,
I beg your pardon?
it may be
It may
clear,
be
but
clear,
you're
you
reading
ask
the
the town
newspaper.
attorney, you're reading from Newsday, maybe the town attorney.
Yes,
can tell you what
that's all
the
I
actual
know.
wording is.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Sure.
Supervisor, you expressed it exactly as it's understood. The issue is public safety. You know, a random tree in the woods somewhere is not the concern. You know, we're concerned with a falling tree endangering individuals or property. That's simply what it comes down to.
No, you can't speak, Mrs. Katz. You have to wait to speak on the microphone, because we have to record everything that's said here by law. You finished?
Yep.
Okay. Is this Richard O.? Can't seem to read the name. Yeah, that was you, sir. Robert Sakura, on the same matter?
Yes, hi, Bob Sikora from the Forestwood Civic Association. We're concerned, you know, the law that, as it's written is clear, it's fine. I don't have a major problem with it, but does this compel the town to also take care of broken trees, limbs, et cetera, that are on town property? Example, New Mill Road that goes down the middle of our development. There are a lot of broken trees, limbs that are laying around. There's a passive park on Signet between Larkspur and Flamingo that we've called the town on and asked that there are a large amount of trees that have been uprooted and are they dangerous? Yeah, the kids are going in there. It's a passive park, backs up to Blydenburg Park, and we consider it dangerous. And when we've called the town, I believe it was the environmental
Yes.
department, basically said, well, it's a passive park, we let nature take its course. Well, if a private homeowner is going to be compelled to maintain what the town might consider, or the town attorney might consider, a dangerous situation, I believe that the town should also be compelled to take care of property that also could be, and trees also deemed a hazard. There was a situation about 2 years ago that I had called the town on. There was a tree leaning over New Mill Road that was totally dead. Limbs had come off a few times, and it took us 3 to 4 weeks to get the town to come and cut it down. They had to send an arborist, which is fine. But I really think that the law needs to be a little clearer on town property as well, because it doesn't seem like we're getting very far when we are calling and asking the town to take care of their property.
Okay, can I just reply to that?
Please.
You know, the town has been known as Tree City for the last 20 years.
Yes.
We were inundated, if you will, it's a bad word, with trees. We know what our responsibility is, and we try to meet that responsibility. So, maybe we won't get to the tree that you're talking about for a week or 2 or 3, but nonetheless, it's our responsibility. What the law does, I think, you can disabuse me of the fact, it makes the homeowner responsible for trees on his property that might endanger somebody.
Correct, I understand
Okay.
that, Mr. Vecchio, but I'm just saying, there are situations, I think it needs to be clear on, if it's on town property, who do we call to clear up broken limbs that are on the street, or on the property, that have been sitting there, and we're calling, and you know, to get an answer, well, it's a passive park, it's still a dangerous situation. Kids are going into the park, and they're climbing on dead branches. It's dangerous. So we need to get a little more clarification on how do we remedy those situations.
Okay? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Elena Irita?
Good afternoon, Board, and thank you for hearing me. With all due respect to your interests of the citizens and the residents of the Smithtown area, I personally feel that this property maintenance proposition is overstepping your authority. State laws limit local government's regulatory power over land, and I think that for us to go with a toothpick, a microscope to pick up every little piece of debris that's in some properties over 2 acres is an unreasonable request, which may turn to law in a short period of time if other people don't speak up about it. Private land is just that. It's private. There's no threat to public health or safety, and I don't think you can burden the private citizen with the cost of conforming to your aesthetics. Are we going to see a tax increase as you trespass upon private property and cut down trees, bulldoze stumps, take leaves, take branches off trees? That means the entire town has to pay the price for one tree to be cut down. Dead trees are a part of the natural cycle of birth, growth, death, rebirth, and your proposal is to sterilize and sanitize nature and the order of things. Small animals find shelter in fallen and uprooted trees. Their areas of existence is being encroached upon, and it's up to us to preserve, not to destroy. This will also place an economic burden on the property owner. Each tree costs in the neighborhood of $1,000 or more. There are many older citizens in Smithtown who own large tracts of land. We are not all living in small quarter-of-an-acre mowed areas. The older citizen is living on a very limited income, and to pay over $1,000 a tree when easily there are 10, 15 fallen trees on over an acre of woodland will be more than what that individual has to spend in the course of a year. I'm afraid I feel that adding the amendment to the town code is similar to pickpocketing the residents. And I do beseech you to drop this idea. People buy into bucolic woodlands, as in Head of the Harbor and Nissaquag, or near county, federal, and state parks, because they actually choose to live in that kind of bucolic environment. They want woodlands. They want the little animals. They want the birds. They want the bird's nest. They want the woodpeckers.
We understand. Can you sum up?
My time's up?
Yes. Thank you.
Do I have to cut myself down now?
No.
Thank you for hearing my presentation.
Can we get some clarification on the law?
The purpose of these
Proposed
amendments
law.
are just to protect against any public safety issue. So it's not going to be trees that are just in the back of your property that are far away from any outside areas where they could potentially harm people or vehicles or things like that. This is only to protect the public. So we're not going to be going into your backyards and trying to have you take down your trees.
Well, now, ma'am, you can't speak out because we have to record everything that's said here. Okay, thank you.
So that's simply what we're trying to do, is that those trees that could potentially be a harm to other residents in the area, people passing through or their property. That's what we're trying to address, not all trees on property.
Okay. Yes, please come up to the microphone. Give your name.
My name is Yvonne Katz, and I live in Tulipwood Drive, Comac, and we have a very treed area, and we have acre of properties. So therefore, our trees are in greater potential of creating damage. My question is, are you going to send government staff, people from the town, to inspect every single property to see what trees are going? How are you going to address a problematic tree?
You want to address that?
Well, no, we're not going to canvass the entire town. Generally, what happens is we receive a complaint, it generally goes to the environmental department, and we send out the arborist to inspect it.
Do you speak to the owners in writing? Do you send a notification to the owners before you come in and address this issue?
Well, assuming that the property owner doesn't remedy the issue themselves, they'll receive a notice for 72 hours to remove it. They'll receive a directive from the town board to remove it. They'll be entitled to a public hearing, and then only after that the town board could authorize the tree to be removed.
If I might give an example, some years back, a tree that was not on town property, a street tree that you referenced before, came down on a car and killed a lady. A lawsuit ensued. We were mystified as to why the town would be part of a lawsuit when it was not its property that killed the lady. We paid, you paid. And so this is a kind of a protection against that kind of situation happening. Anybody not clear on that? Thank you so much.
Hold on.
Yes. Oh, here you are. Carl Matero?
No,
Keith Matero, okay.
Hi, my name is Keith Matoro. I live in Wisconsin. For 40 years, I love it here. I love the trees. That's the most beautiful part about our town. When I have friends visit from Nassau, they say, "Oh, it's a shame our town used to look like that." Your town, they're jealous. So I came across this. A relative showed this to me, and a group of my neighbors. We all were talking about this, so I could come up here and speak. I wrote down a letter. Do you mind if I would you
Sure.
read this? Okay.
You keep it under 3 minutes.
Oh, okay. In regard to your proposed amendment to the town code requiring property owners to trim broken tree limbs and remove trees that are damaged, we, as property owners and residents of Smithtown, would be against any measures that would change the rustic look much of our town still retains. Property owners should retain the right to maintain the trees on their property according to their personal preferences, to include preserving a natural or wooded look, and deal with their trees' maintenance only when and if they choose and can comfortably afford to do so. This is the way it has been for decades, and this is why Smithtown does not look like many neighborhoods in Nassau, Queens, and Brooklyn, where generic grass lawns and cement dominate the landscape. Forcing residents to conform to new codes or face tax levies is extreme and would force unnecessary financial burdens on many who are struggling financially and on seniors who are on fixed incomes. Additionally, new laws could empower residents who do not like to see leaves on their manicured lawns to use them against neighbors who prefer trees to grass. Certainly, trees and limbs which pose a genuine threat to structures or public roads should be dealt with, but only if they pose a genuine threat. Let us not try to fix something which is not broken and enjoy the Smithtown we know and love.
Thank you so much.
Okay. And, you know, I have a few more minutes.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends and neighbors, when you go down Town Line Road and Nichols Road, it's so nice. You just see so many trees. And there's some people that don't like that. There are some neighbors on the block, "Oh, get that tree, I'm going to report
Okay.
you." And they
We've
make it
got
on,
it.
it's not fair to try to impose their will. I don't try to tell them to grow trees, they shouldn't have us.
Supervisor,
Theodore Schwarzman?
Supervisor, if I could just add something. It's my understanding, based on speaking with Russell Barnett, that this issue comes up maybe 5 or 6 times a year. So it's not intended on removing all trees. It's intended on removing dangerous
I
trees.
understand that.
Okay.
Theodore Schwartzman?
Theodore Schwartzman, 27 Seneca Drive, Comac. Most of my questions have been answered. I just have
Okay.
questions. I don't understand this part here where it says about severely damaged or exposed root balls or tree stumps more than 50% above grade. I don't know what that means. If you cut down a 30-foot tree, does that mean you can leave a 15-foot stump? I don't think that's what you mean, but I don't know what 50% means. Could you explain that?
Basically, if the remainder is sticking up, more than 50% of it is above the grade level, then that will have to be removed. The actual, like, stump itself, is 50% of it is
In other words,
above grade.
If you have a 2-foot round tree, you have to bring it down to 1 foot, is that? I'm not sure what this means at all.
Well, I gotta ask a question based on what he's just asked. Why do we have to have a stump removed? What makes that dangerous?
It's not the stump that's being removed, it's that the stump ball is exposed by 50%, so the tree has already fallen but hasn't fallen entirely.
Okay, do you understand that? The tree has already fallen,
Oh, the tree has fallen.
and the stump ball is exposed.
Okay, because I took down the tree and I left the stump, but I didn't grind it down.
No, that's not the issue.
That's not the issue.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Frank Eisinger? Oh, you spoke. I'm sorry, Mr. Eisinger. Apologize. Okay, that's it. We'll move on. Anybody else? We'll close the meeting. I move to close the meeting.
Number 2.
There's another one here?
Yeah, well, you got to close this public hearing.
This one has to be.
Motion to close the public hearing, Supervisor?
Okay. I move to close the hearing.
I'll second it.
Maintenance.
There's one more speaker.
There was somebody. Oh, all right. Well,
Did you get that, Vinnie?
Good afternoon. My name is Peter Shurka. I just want to get a little clarification. 48 William Street, Smithtown, New York. I just want to get some clarification because I didn't hear the introduction to this. So this is a law that the town is proposing or an amendment to a law. So if a tree is posing a hazard on a neighbor's property or person, that would have to be dealt with. Is that at the owner's expense? If the owner fails to do it, then you said the town will take care of it? Is that at the owner's expense?
no, I believe it means that if that person's property is cited as having a dangerous tree, and they fail to remediate that, then the town will go in and take the tree down.
Okay. And is there a cost to the homeowners who had the tree
I would
and didn't?
imagine that the cost of that will be assessed on your taxes.
Okay, that's what I wanted to ask. And then the next question I had was, does this apply to commercial property?
Well, that's a good question. Mr. Town Attorney,
Yes, it applies generally to all property.
all properties, including commercial, yes.
Okay, so then, and under this law, it would be basically a neighbor reporting type of a thing. You call up and say, I got a tree over my property, it's gonna fall on my car,
That-
and.
I
that's
think
the law.
that sounds correct.
Okay, thank you. That's
Thank
all I
you.
want to know.
Is that it on the trees? Yes?
So
Come on, come up here.
So if,
Give us your name again.
my name is Keith.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, from
Mature.
Wisconsin. If a tree is, say there's a dead tree on your property, but it's not threatening to fall anywhere but on your property, does a neighbor retain the right to, like, turn you in, like the Gestapo or something?
If the neighbor turned you in and we went out and looked at it, and it wasn't endangering your property or life, then that's it.
So, right, you're entitled to have a dead tree on your property that's
That's
not
correct,
endangering it?
absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, that completes our public hearing.
Yeah, we have to close it.
Yep. So we need a
I'll move to close that hearing.
I'll second.
Supervisor Vecchio,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah,
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim,
Yes.
and Councilwoman Inzarella.
Yes.
Town Board to consider the town's entry onto certain real property located at 19 Walter Drive, Wisconsin, reportedly owned by Gene Verity for the purpose of remediating and/or removing the structures thereat which have been designated as unsafe under the town's code.
Good afternoon, Mr. Supervisor, members of the town board. My name is Martin Simon, Assistant Town Attorney for the town of Smithtown. Excuse me. The purpose of today's second public hearing is for the town board to consider entry upon the property at 19 Walter Drive, Nesconset, town of Smithtown, New York, for the purpose of removing any and all unsafe structures at the site. I've left for each of you 19 photos taken yesterday at the site showing the deplorable conditions at the site. It is my understanding through conversations with building director that this property's been vacant for quite some time, and they believe that the property owner is deceased at this point, although they don't have any proof of that.
Okay, anybody wish to be heard on this?
Good afternoon. My name is Mrs. Briscoe.
Can you pull that down a little bit?
Turn it down? Okay.
There you go.
My name is Mrs. Briscoe. I'm the owner of 20 Walter Drive. And what you're looking at is my view for the past 25 years. We would like to see the place cleaned up. We would like to see the feral cats removed. The lady died in January of 13, I believe. Might have been 12. I could check. So she's gone, and the house has been just left like that. I don't know where the family is. I don't know that they have any interest in the place. But it's just a disaster. And as I said, it didn't look good when she was around.
Well, ma'am, this public hearing is to put that homeowner on notice.
On notice.
If they don't come in within 30 days, the town will move to take the structure down.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay?
It's terrible. There's children that look
that-
for an adventure, go in there. We worry about empty cesspools and things like that.
Well, that's why we're doing this.
Yeah, okay. But the big problem are these feral cats that some of the neighbors, misguided, are feeding and taking care of out there. And the mess is just awful. As I say, that's our view. We're right across the street.
You can pick them up, but we don't keep them, and we'll pick them up, we'll spray them, but they'll throw them back out. Somebody's feeding them.
Somebody's
That's
feeding
why the
them,
cats
yes.
are
She
there.
set up, she's claimed in December, when the town first noticed this house, that a rescue was coming. And she posted a notice there for no one to remove the cats or harm them in any way. Rescue was supposed to come before the end of December, and that never happened. They're still there. I don't know whether they're fixed or not.
How many are there?
At least 4. At one time, there were 7. There were 7, and whether someone took those sick ones away, I don't know, or if they died. We did find one dead one, but it's just disgusting.
Well, if you call our animal shelter,
We did. Nobody will come.
well, Miss
What's the
Noack is
address?
stepping in.
It's the 19th,
19
is the 19th,
The cats are at 19?
at 19, with their little shelter boxes that someone fixed up with them.
They have shelter boxes?
Yeah, these, they look like Rubbermaid totes, and they've made little houses out of them, cut an opening, put straw in. It's all according to what rescue people do.
Was it just this,
Website.
was it just this homeowner, or is there a few
Well, she was a cat lover.
homeowners
She was a
that are
cat
taking care
lover,
of the cats?
And cat lovers are a breed apart.
No, I understand, that's why I'm interested,
couple
because there
on the
might be
block.
a
There's a
you might
couple
have
on the block in all
yeah.
kinds of weather. They will come down with cans of food, paper plates, and just make a mess. And their litter box is our entire neighborhood. I'm surprised there's no one else here besides myself. They're probably working. So we'd like it taken care of.
Well, the shelter sometimes has problems as far as keeping feral
I know.
cats. They will take them, have them neutered so they don't keep reproducing, but your problem is that somebody is feeding them to keep them
Yeah,
around.
because they'll be released
Right.
back.
They will be released, it's called trap.
Neuter and
neuter
release. Yeah.
Trap, spay, neuter.
But the problem is, they've decimated the bird population, because this property is adjoining the Commerdinger Park that couple of 100 acres or so of parkland, goes over to Browns Road.
I know what
Do you know the
Cameron is.
place I mean?
Yes, I do.
It backs up to that property. And it's a beautiful animal preserve in there, you know, raccoons, all sorts of things. There are no more birds.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
we'll send out somebody to
Okay.
trap, spay, and neuter those cats.
But they'll come back. They might be
Yeah.
released back. If those cats are so feral and they can't stay in the shelter.
Whoever's taking care of them, you might want to talk to them
Yeah.
and see if you could.
No, there's no talking to these people.
There shouldn't be the homes
Because
then
we
or
had the
food.
conversation, and we suggested that they take the animals. If you love them so much, take them in your house. Nobody's doing that.
Thank you.
All righty, thank you.
Mr. Supervisor,
Yes,
it's worth noting, in response to the residents' concern, we've done this in the past where we've come upon a property where we are there to remediate an unsafe condition, and if there's a feral cat issue or some sort of animal infestation issue, we contact SPCA. And I know on the last one we did last May, they came right out and got control of the situation pretty much immediately.
That would be great.
thank you.
Okay, so you're gonna do that, Mark?
We'll do that when we go on to assess should the board pass the
See how I
resolution.
flipped that right over?
That concludes my,
Next public hearing is to, town board advertise, oh, it's not a public hearing.
No, we need to
We have to
close
close
this.
Close this one out. Okay, I move to close the meeting.
Second,
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
yes.
Councilman Wareheim?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Okay, advertisement for public hearing, town board to authorize the clerk to advertise for public hearing to be held at 2 p.m. at the town of Smithtown Town Hall to consider the town's entry onto certain real property located at 943 Middle Country Road, St. James, reputedly owned by Donald March and Brenda March for the purpose of remediating and or removing this structure thereat.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes. Town board to approve the following minutes of the meeting March 1st, and the following resolution, extension of a bid, the appointment of Lauren DePietro by the supervisor, the engineering department, DEW, to prepare plans and all requiring requisite application materials, and further authorize the supervisor to sign all such materials. Extension of a bid number 15061 for steel stock, extension of bid number 14 for lawn and garden supplies, extension of bid 15024 for traffic sign material, the rejection of all bids received March 17th in connection with bid number 16026, extension of a consulting agreement with Stearns, Conrad, and Schmidt Engineers, the Planning and Community Development Department of Community Development Corporation will allow to apply for additional FSS administrative funding, extension of agreement with the USA Emergency Board, salary increase for Eileen Tropier, creation of 2 projects for the Community Development Program, and the town board to deny without prejudice zoning petition 2003-03. Also, the town board to deny without prejudice zoning petition 2008, number 7, as submitted by SSRC Realty. P, an extension of an agreement with Whereon LFG Services. Animal Shelter Volunteer Policy Correction Amendment at the Smithtown Animal Shelter and Adoption Center Volunteer Policy and Procedure. Appointment of Stacy Messina to the Board of Assessment Review. That's it.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim?
No on R, the appointment to the Assessment Review Board, yes on the rest.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes. 2, the town board to authorize the clerk to advertise for the following bids. To return to town hall, a bid for communication equipment, a bid for polyethylene bags, a bid for athletic field marking paint, and a bid for masonry supplies.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes. Town board to award the following bids and authorize the purchases of the goods and services. Bid number 16 for road marking materials, bid number 16 of 18 for sod, bid number 16 of 17 for Portland cement powder, bid number 16 of 030 for heating and what's that, we're back, is for
Heating, ventilating,
ventilating and air conditioning. Bid number 16 for LED lighting fixtures. Partial award of a bid for asphalt concrete. Picked up awards to Rosemat Contract King, Kings Park Asphalt and Scat Materials. And that's it.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Warehime?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Town Board to authorize the controller to execute the following. As per A, a transfer, B, an increase in an account, C, a transfer, D, a transfer, E, an increase in an account, and F, a transfer.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Warehime?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes, Town Board to authorize the supervisor to execute the following on a form approved by the town attorney. Expanded in-home service for the elderly. Authorization to the supervisor to enter an agreement with the CSEA. A change in work week from 35 hours to 40 hours. A contract with Suffolk County, acting through the Suffolk County Sheriff's Office regarding pass-through grant funds. Agreements with Fire District's Ambulance Corps and Village of Nissaquag for lease of emergency vehicle traffic signal preemption.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Warehime?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes, Town Board to approve the following. A settlement with Monica Sussman against the town, the amount of $5,360.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Warehime?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Town Board to authorize the acceptance of the following donations. $60 from Vincent Martinelli, Smithtown Children's Foundation check in the amount of $100.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Warehime?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes. Town Board to authorize the release of the following in escrow in the amount of $4,000.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Warehime?
Yes, but that might be a misprint right there on that agenda. Can you open it? I don't know, it's supposed to be 4,000?
Oh, yeah.
It says 4,000 on mine.
No, it says 4 comma 0.
Oh, yeah.
That should
Well,
be corrected.
Oh.
Yeah,
It's 4,000, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes.
We'll get that corrected.
Town Board to approve the following personnel matters. Full-time appointment, seasonal appointments as per the attached list. Reassignment of a employee, seasonal appointments as per the attached list. Full-time appointment to the position of labor in the parks. Seasonal appointments, once again, as per the attached list for the parks, buildings, and grounds. Full-time appointment to the position of account clerk typist. Change of title hourly rate for Karen Aldrich. Season appointment of Nicholas D. Paola to the position of student intern. Part-time appointment of Michelle McCauley and Darlene Savillo. And a part-time appointment of Kelly McCran Kozakowski.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Warehime?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes. Those wishing to be heard, Yvonne Katz.
Supervisor, I think we have a site plan
We have
also.
site
Did we
plan.
do
Yeah,
the
we
site
do-
plan?
Okay. Well, why don't we be heard, then we'll do the site plan. Come on, you can be heard.
I need to give you this, which we sent to you and the attorney, and this is for him, so that, but it's the same exact thing, so, we sent to, Mr. Jakuboski in June 2014.
You have a copy for us?
I have to hand it to the councilman, but,
I'll make you a copy.
yes, it's, okay, it's on the.
No worries.
But, it's, you're a nurse.
No
so
worries.
she knows this information.
I'm a nurse? No, no.
We'll get you a copy, don't worry.
Okay, yeah. Good afternoon. My name is Yvonne Katz. I live in 28 Tulipwood Drive, Comac, New York, 11725. Thank you for listening. I just have a very important question to the council board. Why is the town not enforcing the light industry non-nuisance zoning codes on Mall Drive, Comac?
I don't have an answer for you, I don't have an answer to that question.
Why aren't you enforcing the zoning codes?
I don't have an answer to
We
that
have
question.
we have been promised that there is 1,000 feet perimeter bordering neighbors that is light industry non-nuisance. The codes are not being reinforced, and I have been complaining about this, I would say officially since 2014, early 2014. So you don't have an answer for that? How about the attorney?
Well, I'm not so sure.
Well, because
I'm not so sure that you're correct, that the codes haven't been enforced. We've gone round and round and over and about on this problem with you, Mrs. Katz. And we have satisfied, we've done numerous reports, sent you those reports. We've had personnel round the clock at that site, and we don't come up with what you come up with. I'm sorry.
So if the loud operations, the loud electronic devices being used, and the hundreds of trucks that are coming in and out of Mall Drive, uploading and downloading cargo, those are not violations. Why are you lying to the residents about what entails to be light industry zoning, non-nuisance zoning? Therefore, if you are not finding any violations, you are lying.
Okay.
Why are you lying?
I don't know that I'm lying. I don't think I'm lying.
You are not lying?
No.
Why is
Because we depend on reports from employees who go out to try to discover what
And
your complaint is about.
aren't you instructing the building director, Mr. White, not to follow protocol and instead have Mr. Jakubowski addressing these violations? You are lying. Government is to serve the interest of the people, not to serve the interest of the government, and that is what you are doing.
Okay.
You are corrupt, dirty, ignorant. Read that paper.
You know, ma'am, you shouldn't be using such language.
That I gave you,
You should
okay?
not be using such
I have
language.
freedom of speech, and you had
Yes,
it
you
enough
do.
with me.
But it's-
You have it enough
but
with me
freedom of
because
speech
you
doesn't
are not
entitle you to
doing your
call
job.
people terrible
You
names.
are not doing your job.
Okay.
Terrible names? Own it. Own it.
Okay.
You are a tyrant. You are a tyrant.
Don't we have a code about that? Yes. What happened to the code?
What happened to the code? What are you going to do about it? Free speech? You're going to take that away from me also?
I'll move to close
My
the meeting.
quality of life?
Did we do site plan? Oh, yeah, okay.
No, we
No,
have to do site plan. We need to, we need,
Site plan?
yes.
So we'll close this meeting, then reconvene as a
Okay.
site plan board.
Okay.
Okay, seconded.
Second.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah?
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
And you
Sitting as a
reconvene.
Board of Site Plan Review now.
Okay.
Town Board, Board of Site Plan Review to approve the minutes of March 17th, 2016. And further, to conditionally approve a site plan by J. Nazaro, Phase 2, for proposed 4,500 square foot retail building, site work and location at Smithtown Bypass in Smithtown.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah?
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes.
Now you move to
Move
close.
to close.
Second.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah?
Yes.
Councilman Wareheim?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.